Digital media for me is a very broad topic, and I am sure this is very subjective and this is very different for everyone. For me, in the beginning, choosing to study digital media was just the choice of a graphic designer, trying to move my focus more to creating digital products, which for me meant designing interfaces, but visual interfaces of some kind of digital objects, which when I started my studies here in Bremen I found out is something much broader than just creating visual interfaces for some kind of objects. And here we had so many philosophical questions, or we learned so much about the experiments of many people that were much beyond the technical questions of creating something, no matter if those are developers' technical questions or designer creative questions or something. So for me now it is something much broader, but I'm still sure this is my own personal subjective definition and everyone has their own definition of digital media. Yes, definitely. And we read many textbooks while preparing for our courses, and I found all of this very useful actually. Before starting those studies, I did not know so much about this topic, and I was curious to find out how people from so many different areas are writing so many different things about digital media, and I found out how much digital media affects many aspects of life and professions actually. Even if it was not me looking for books in the library, we had books that were recommended, and even some of the books, if we didn't read all of the books that were recommended, we just had homework so that we had to read certain parts of books and present that or do something with that. So it is part of our studies. Maybe it is not very interesting for everyone, or maybe it is not everyone's focus, but the books that we read were so broad, from the history, something like a history of digital media, more technical questions, more philosophical questions, or many different topics. So it was definitely useful. Yes, I did. This was again part of our studies, so we just had to read parts of this book for our classes. The most recent problem for my project was creating my prototype. After spending a lot of time researching and decided how exactly it should work, I had a little bit technical problems. I tried to build my prototype by myself. Sadly, I'm not so advanced as a developer, and programming for maps and navigation systems is a little bit more complicated, so it is not so easy for a beginner. This is why I asked a friend of mine that was studying in university informatics to help me. That friend of mine helped me to build different small parts of prototypes for some of the main features of my idea, and at the end I built everything together in a video to see how all of those features would work together. So definitely with the help of a friend and with many experiments by myself. No, I don't think so. Or maybe, well, books will exist in any case. I could not predict if they will be printed or they will be read on some other kinds of devices. But definitely books will still be there. Printed book? I could not predict anything like this.